April for me felt like a glass that was just overflowing. Too much was going on, and there was just no end in sight. And if you're in a place right now where life just feels like it's too much, where things that you love just get pushed to the bottom of this endless to-do list, I get it. That's been me for way too long, but stay with me here because this month ends with hope. Welcome to my April Creators Log. This is the video where I sit down at the end of each month and just take stock. Look at what happened, look at what I made, what I felt, and what I'm carrying forward with me into the next month. And hi, I'm Celine, and if you're new here, this is the Uncharted studio where we work toward building a life we love, full of creativity. If I had to describe April in a few words, it would be a broken glass that was just overflowing and then finally being able to just empty out a little bit. I felt like I was just maxed out. My to-do list was never ending. I kept trying to feel a sense of control by making even more to-do lists. And those just ended up overwhelming me, like pretty much everything. My career, my responsibilities, my manuscript, my life, everything was just piling up and I was drowning. And those thoughts in my head weren't even coherent thoughts at all. They were just bees buzzing and buzzing around in there with no sense of direction. And then we get Scotland. My partner and I had a trip planned and some wedding venue research, some rest, some wandering, things like that. And I just adore Scotland. I don't know exactly what it is, but something about that place just feels so restful to me. So I was so grateful that we had this trip planned for right now because it gave me the perfect break I needed. I still had responsibilities, I still had things I had to think about and things I needed to do, but that trip gave me enough breathing room to remember what it feels like when the glass isn't overflowing, when you can think and when your thoughts stop being so frantic and start actually lining up. I came back feeling lighter and a little more myself and with hope for what's coming next. In terms of reading, I finished the 4 main books of the Red Queen series, which I enjoyed, and then I read The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark. And hold on, let me just grab it. This is The Ending Writes Itself, and it's co-written by V. Schwab and Kat Clark, and it's a locked room thriller about publishing, basically a satirical take on publishing, but with a murder mystery kind of thing going on. And while I was in Edinburgh, I had the chance to go see them talk about this book live. And I adore V. Schwab. I love her writing. I love her books. And I was just so thrilled to be able to be there. And then while I was waiting for the talk to start, I actually hit 500 subscribers. And I was just so overwhelmed with emotions, both because, seeing one of your literary idols in the flesh, and also because of all of you guys. More on that in a bit because I'm already getting way too emotional here. Anyway, I'm currently about halfway through Strange the Dreamer by Leanne Taylor, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not loving it yet, but it's a fun read. So reading wasn't really my primary form of nourishment this month like it was throughout February and March, and that's okay. Scotland was that for me. My writing highlight for April was absolutely my 12-hour writing challenge, which I'm gonna leave a link for up here for you if you're curious and you haven't watched that yet. I took on a challenge that I was terrified to try, and it blew me away, both with how much I wrote. I wrote over 10,000 words that day, which is just way more than I've ever written before in a single day. But more than that is, it proved to me that when I give myself protected time, when I lock myself in and dedicate real space and capacity to my creativity, I can do this. Even in a chaotic life, I can find a way to be creative, and that gave me so much hope. But there's even more light at the end of this tunnel, because moving forward, I'm gonna have a lot more support and help when it comes to my care responsibilities. I'm the primary carer for one of my two parents. And from May onwards, that means more time, more real time that I can invest in myself, in my writing, in my creativity. And that just, I'm so thrilled. I'm so relieved, and I'm definitely not going to approach this as a new month, new me kind of thing. I don't want to go crazy and set 50 goals and then burn out by week 2. No, I want this to be intentional. So here's what I'm actually planning. First, I'm going to be reviewing N.K. Jemison's masterclass for Craft Lab next week. And she talks about writing fiction and science fiction and fantasy and her experiences as an author from a diverse background and everything. And I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts on that. I'm also going to be trialing her writing routine during my exploration week later in the month. And I'm so excited to take it on because it has some similarities to my own, but a lot of differences as well. Anyway, have you read anything by her yet? Or have you watched her masterclass? I'd love to hear from people who either love or hate her. I think those are generally, well, there are also the people who don't know her, but I think those are generally the two camps. Next, I'm going to be reinstating my growth hour, which is dedicated time I set aside each day just for learning. And that's just me learning, progressing, growing in some area that I'm interested in. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, not a full hour, it'll count. And that's good enough because I started off the year doing this and I loved seeing how consistent learning was just building up. For example, I want to start learning how to draw on my iPad, and this is something I've wanted to do for ages. So if you have any channels or any lessons or any resources that you'd recommend, I'm all ears. I am just terrible at traditional mindfulness, sitting still, eyes closed, breathing in and out. It's just not me. So I can do better with walking meditations, with active journaling, with something that keeps my hands busy. So I hope that drawing or coloring might become something, like a different version of that. Just this little pocket of calm that I can access easily whenever I want. As far as my manuscript goes, I'm currently just a couple of scenes away from the midpoint of the story, and by the end of May, I hope I'm going to be at the end of Act 2. Now, it's an ambitious goal, but it's not a reckless one. I know the story, I know where it's going, I've plotted it out, and I believe in it, so I feel this is a reasonable goal. For now. And yeah, I'm also planning another mini sprint, 2 or 3 hour version, because the 12-hour day just showed me what is possible. So I want to keep building that habit. And if that's something that you'd be interested in joining for, I'm happy to arrange to do these lives so we could just show up, write together for a little bit, check in. So let me know. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. One of my biggest lessons this month is that I needed Scotland, but I can't just go to Scotland every time I feel my glass overflowing. So I've been thinking about the micro version of that reset, that way to empty the glass a little bit. And there are these little moments that I'm hoping will help me come back to myself. So here are 5 that I'm going to try, and I'd love for you to pick whichever feels most doable for you and for your own life, and that it will be most helpful for you. So just let me know if you try any of these and let me know if they helped you. First off, we've got a 10-minute walk where you actually pay attention to whatever is around you. Look up at the clouds, look at the trees, look at the flowers, look at the cracks in the pavement. Don't rely on a podcast or an audiobook or music to keep you busy. Just observe what's going on. Secondly, we've got a slow cup of hot cocoa in the morning. Now, hot cocoa is my hot drink of choice. You could choose tea or coffee or whatever, but just sip that cup. Look out the window or sit on a balcony and just do that before you open any screens. Just that, nothing more. Just a moment of quiet. Third is free journaling. No agenda, no prompt. Just set a timer for like 5 minutes and write whatever comes out. Don't reread it. Just leave it there. Use it as a safe space for catharsis and just to let out all those bees that are buzzing in your head. Fourth, I'm going to try drawing, doodling, coloring, puzzles, anything and everything that just keeps my hands busy and lets my brain relax. I've got my little craft cart here, my hobby cart, and I'm just going to be using it a lot more. And then last but never least, this list would not be complete without reading. Even just a chapter or a page, just something that has nothing to do with your to-do list, something that just gives you joy. None of these are big or groundbreaking or revolutionary in any way, but that's the whole point. These are just the little things that I feel may work for me, and I want to know what are some little things that work for you. Maybe they'll inspire me too. I also want to take a moment because this month something happened that I just didn't expect at all. A video I made about how you can completely love something, writing in my case, and still not be able to do it. It reached people, a lot of people, and so many of you showed up and said, yeah, that's me. I feel that too. So if you're one of those people, welcome. I wanted to welcome you here. I'm so glad that you're here. I feel honored and grateful and so moved that you chose to stick around and to share parts of your story with me. This channel exists because I believe that creativity isn't just something we do. It's something that we live, and I want it to be a space where you can feel that too, where you can feel seen and understood and heard and a little bit less alone in whatever creative season you're in and with whatever is going on in your life right now. So really, thank you. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for connecting with me and sharing a little bit of who you are. And speaking of that, I wanted to open this up a little bit more. So if you have any questions for me about writing, about process, about creative life, or anything else, let me know in the comments below. I'm thinking about either doing a live or a recorded Q&A where I sit down and actually talk through these with you. Tell me which you'd prefer and we can do that. And I'm filled with so much hope moving forward. And part of that is because of all of you. Part of that is because by sharing how I've been feeling about writing, you've given me the courage to keep going too. So that's it. That's been my April. It was a glass overflowing, a trip to Scotland, 1,000 words a day, and now hope. And I'm heading into May with intention, not pressure, with nourishment and with you. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm gonna leave my video on creative seasons linked over here for you, in case you have no idea what I was talking about when I referred to that. And I'm gonna see you at the next one, where we're gonna talk about masterclass and N.K. Jemisin. Happy writing.